God, Mazda, you couldn't have made this more confusing. I'm sorry, this is just so confusing. Okay, fist me, here we go. No boost for you, baby, let's go. It's fast, guys. Come on, baby. Ooh. Okay, that felt good. That felt good, but not great. 0 to 100 in seconds. Hey guys, check this out. We are here with the all-new Mazda CX-80. It is an elongated version of the Mazda CX-60, which means it actually has a third row. Now, if we're being totally honest with ourselves here, when the CX-60 first came out almost a couple of years ago now, it actually had a few issues. One, it was really expensive. Two, it didn't ride all that great. And three, it didn't have a third row of seats. And then you throw into the mix that the CX-8, the elongated version of the CX-5 with 7 seats, was yeeted out of here. The CX-9, a really popular, honestly much loved, revered 7-seat SUV from Mazda, well, that was also yeeted out of here, and there was nothing to really fill that gap anymore. And so I am happy to report that the CX-80 really is a spiritual successor to that CX-9 and CX-8. And if you avoid some of the trims, in fact, I would recommend going straight for this, the base model, the Pure, which is all new in this new large platform range, then I think that you are getting a good deal. But there are some glaring issues still with the Mazda CX large platform range, not least of which is how confusing it is. Mazda will play this down, but the CX-60, CX-70, CX-80, and CX-90 all look the same. Here's a video of the CX-80 next to the CX-70, and they look exactly the same. However, the CX-70 is larger and way more expensive as well. It's actually a more premium product than this, the CX-80. The whole thing makes no sense to me, and why we have all of them also makes no sense to me. But I'm glad to report that this one here, the CX-80, the Pure, with this beautiful inline 6-cylinder engine, yeah, this is actually a gem in the range. So I'll try and cut through all of the confusion for you and tell you all the good, the bad of the Mazda CX-80. So let's get into it. Okay, let's start with price, because really that is the biggest thing for me. When these first came out, not the 80, but the CX-60 and CX-90, frankly, I just thought that they were a lot of money for what you are getting. And I'm happy to say that they have brought in a new entry range, at least here for the CX-80, and it's likely we will see it in the CX-60 too, and that is the new Pure grade. It is the base model, and I definitely think it's best value because it's like $6,000 cheaper than the next grade above. So it's 54,950 Australian dollars before on-road costs, which is only like 2 grand more than the all-wheel drive base model version of a CX-9 when it was on sale in 2023. So accounting for inflation, it's about the same price. And that, I think, is good value. I think that's really good value. But that delta actually just becomes far bigger as you go up the range. And of course, if you want to learn about everything you get in each grade, how much they all cost, just Google us CarSauce Mazda CX-80 review. Our review is up now and you can read all about it there. And of course, no matter which car you are buying, if you want the absolute best price possible, I have a dedicated team of car buyers who are out there to get you the best price possible. And it's totally free for you because we charge dealers a fixed fee. What we do is we actually make them fight each other, the dealers, to get you the absolute best price possible. You get a bunch of offers back and you can choose what you want with no obligation either. Like I said, totally free for you. So you can now join our hundreds of very happy customers. Just Google CarSauce Buy and my team will help you out. Let's talk about the exterior. All right, let's start with the exterior. And I'm going to be a bit of a negative Nancy here, but I honestly believe that Mazda in the design process kind of messed this up. That is, the CX-60, CX-70, CX-80, and CX-90, they all look the same. Now, they will tell you they have differences. They're different. And yes, they do have some differences, but honestly, you put them side by side, they look identical. There are differences in size, so let me quickly run this down for you. CX-60, that is the smallest. It is this, the CX-80, with a shortened wheelbase, and it has 5 seats. Then you move up to the CX-70. That's actually just a CX-90 with 5 seats. Confusing. It's actually wider, taller, and longer than a CX-60, and the CX-80, like I said, is just a stretched version of the CX-60. CX-60. Whereas the CX-90, like I said, it's just a CX-70 with a third row. I honestly don't know what Mazda we're thinking here. It is so confusing, really, really confusing. To be fair, we are the only market in the world to be getting all of these. In the US, they get the larger CX-70 and CX-90. And then in Europe, they get the CX-60 and the CX-80. But yeah, it's so confusing. Mazda, I don't think you did a good job there. Anyway, let's talk about the looks, because actually I think it is a pretty nice looking SUV. Like I said, this is the base model. So we get these base model lights here. If you go for a top spec, they actually light up a bit higher, but they are bright LEDs no matter what, and you get LED turning signals. So very, very good. You have a massive Mazda grille with a massive Mazda badge. That's also your radar for the adaptive cruise control. You have chrome all around. And of course it is a base model. So scratchy plastics down here. Do get a bit of aero to help streamline air down the side. And this has Mazda's Kodo design language. So it's a huge boat, but actually it has only curves to it. No real hard edges, apart from the interior, which you'll find out very shortly. Let's check out the side. Okay, so from the side, this is where you can really tell that the CX-80 is a long boy. It's 4,990 millimeters long, which is 250 millimeters longer than a CX-60, but 130 millimeters shorter than a CX-90. That's not a big deal though, and that's because this thing rides on a longer wheelbase. In fact, it's the same as a CX-70 and CX-90. It's 3,120 millimeters long. That's a big wheelbase. God, Mazda, you couldn't have made this more confusing. I'm sorry, this is just so confusing. And if I'm confused as an expert in this field, I can't imagine what the average consumer is thinking right now. I will say these wheels, they look quite small. So like I said, base model, these are 18-inch alloy wheels. They're definitely undersized compared to the huge body of this thing, but they are wrapped in some decent Yokohama Advan tires. Actually do a decent job for grip and things like that, so I can't complain too much. Bit loud on the road, but can't win them all. Inline 6 badge here, that's pretty cool with some chrome there. Like I said, there are no cuts in the body. It's just this huge blob, and I kind of love it. Got a 360 camera, again, pretty well equipped. You also have keyless entry and go. No privacy glass, but can't hate on it for that at this price. And a very Mazda 3-esque looking back, actually, I think. Yeah, it's a long boy. It's a big SUV. Let's check out the bum. Okay, let's talk about the bum now. I actually quite like it, to be honest. I like these 3D effect taillights. Got that pulsing indicator here at the back as well. eSky Active G, that means that we have the petrol. Actually, this only comes in petrol for the base model. You can also get this thing as a diesel. It's the same engine, but diesel. And you can also get this as a plug-in hybrid. If you want to learn more about both the diesel and the plug-in hybrid, I'll link my CX-60 review down below. We actually tested all of those out. Let's just say I wouldn't be buying the plug-in hybrid unless you're trying to avoid the fringe benefit tax, because it ain't great. And you have your CX-80 all-wheel drive badge here. Down the bottom, you just have a decent bumper, nothing too special. And of course, you have sweet, sweet exhaust for that sweet, sweet inline 6 engine. Here's what that sounds like. Okay, so what about boot space with the CX-80? It's a family SUV, so that's quite important, especially for a 3-rower. I'm honestly happy to report it's very good. It's 258 litres, including some of the underfloor storage here as well. Quite decent, actually, for a 3-rower SUV. You have a 220-volt household socket here, which is good to see. And you also have a 12-volt socky-wocky, which is also very good. If you drop the 3rd row, then you get 687 litres of boot space. Again, that is very, very good. And then if you go a step further, you're just mad. You're having a mad day. You drop the 2nd row, then you get just under 2,000 litres, 1,980 litres of space. So yeah, very, very good indeed. Let's talk about the interior. Alrighty guys, let's talk interior now of the Mazda CX-80. Now this is a very, very different proposition to some of the higher specs, but it's not bad. It is just cheaper, okay? It is what it is. But like I said, this is by far the best value and would be my #1 pick for sure. So let's talk about the bad of getting the base model. Well, you get these cloth seats, but they are incredibly adjustable. You can even adjust the leg height. You just have to do it manually. Who cares? It works well. And like I said, you're saving thousands upon thousands of dollars. So big win for you, let me tell you. And they feel totally fine. Other things, this dash insert here, it feels a bit cheap, a bit whatever. It's a decent design. It's not going to rock your socks. You still get soft touch materials around until you go up here that's not, but this is all nice and soft, and this is just weird. I think they've missed a bit of the padding at the factory. It's actually not that great, and it's actually not very comfortable either for resting your arm after a longer time, because you feel the hard plastic underneath it. So that's a bit weird. But anyway, other than that, honestly, it feels 95% of what you get across the range, which is fantastic. Actually comes very, very well equipped straight from the factory. So you get this nice leather steering wheel, feels really good to hold on to. On the left-hand side, you have your media. On the right-hand side, you have your cruise control. You are missing one button, that is your lane centering, but you don't get that until you start spending a lot of money anyway, even at the higher end of the range, which sucks. I think that should be standard, makes driving on longer drives a lot easier. Up in front of you, you get a digi-analog display. So in the center, you can see a bunch of information, and when you change the drive modes, well, you have a little animation there as well. It's a bit slow, but it's fine. And on the left-hand side, you have your real tachometer, baby. We love that. You get a 10.25-inch display here, which is not touchscreen. So that's a weird omission from the base model. They just delete the touch screen ability of it, I guess. Look, it's fine. You can use your little controller down here, and it's actually very intuitive, easy to use. Mazdas were like this for the longest time. It's only recently that they've started adding touchscreen. And honestly, it's fine. It works totally fine. And you get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both of which work very, very well. The sound system, it is a base model sound system, but it's fine. It's adequate. Here you get your digi-analog display for your air conditioning controls, which are very, very good. Weirdly, on a 35-degree day, the air conditioning is struggling to keep up, which kind of sucks. Usually Mazda have very, very good aircon, so it's a bit weird that this is blowing cold-ish air. It's a bit strange. Storage is a galore in here though. You've got a nice soft center armrest. Open this up. You've got the 2 USB-C ports. You have a pretty massive glove box there. They've deleted the wireless charger, so instead you just get this little open area and a little 12-volt socky-wocky. A tiny little storage area to the right of your knee. And then the door bins are actually quite massive as well. So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is the most amazing interior ever, but I think at its price point, it's doing a really good job. And for a base model, yeah, you get 95% of what you would want, including a heads-up display. Like, when do you see that in a base model? And like I said, that value equation for me, it just starts to wane thin as you go up in the range. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this interior space. Do you like base model interiors as much as I do? Especially like on a really hot day, these cloth seats are so much better than leather seats for keeping your back and bum cool. One design flaw, I think, across all of these CX large modular vehicle platform thingamajiggies is this. You have this bit of plastic sticking out, and I have whacked my knee on it. It is pointy, it is sharp, and it hurts, let me tell you. It's really easy to whack your leg on. Let's check out the back seats. Okay, coming into the back seats now, check this out. The door opens like literally 90 degrees. So loading in children and stuff is gonna be fantastic in the back of this. Also for getting in the third row, but we'll come back to that. Sound check. It's actually a very solid thonk. Now, I'm 5'11". This is my normal driving position. Thanks to this extended wheelbase here, I've got so much legroom. Toe room as well is fantastic, and headroom too is also very, very good. Quality is kind of like the front. Scratchy up here, but got some cloth there and some weirdly soft armrests as well. The map pockets here are pretty nice and big. Couple of air vents. Also got some USB-C ports, and you have a third zone of climate control. Blow me that lukewarm air, baby. It's not the best, but hey, it does something. Door bins are absolutely massive. It's like minivan-esque, and of course you get these seats back here. So again, it's cloth back here. It's decently soft, well padded. Pull down this center armrest. That's all nice. You've got a couple of cup holders there too, and some cool party tricks. So first of all, to get more space in the third row, you can slide these seats really quite far forward. It's actually very, very impressive. And of course, if you just want to relax, you can recline quite far back as well. So there's a lot of thought that's been put into the back seats, and I do like it for that. But what about the third row? Let's check that out. Okay, so first of all, it's super easy to get into the third row. It's good to see. Good design, actually. Really, really good. So even as an adult, I can actually quite easily get in the back here. Now, if the second row compromises just a little bit, not that much, you can see here, I've actually got a weirdly enough amount of legroom. Toe room as well is not great, but at least it's something, and headroom is fantastic. So on longer journeys, you can genuinely get 7 adults into this vehicle, which is quite impressive at its price of $55,000. You have a couple of cup holders here. You've also got a USB-C port, and you have air conditioning vented into the third row, which I know is a very nice thing to have. It's at a bit of an awkward angle, so at my usual position, it's actually kind of blocked off, but hey, if you compromise a little bit, you can get some airflow to your face. I've got to be honest with you guys, for a 3-row SUV, it is actually extremely practical. Is it any better than a Hyundai Santa Fe? No, not really, but I would say it is equally as good. And by the way, if you want to go watch my review of that, I will link that down below.
Alrighty guys, I think that's enough dribble. Let's launch it.
Okay, so now it's time to launch the Mazda CX-80. I do love this engine and you're about to hear why. So let's put the car into sport mode. Okay, fist me, here we go. Brake boosting it. Didn't like that. Let's try it one more time. Didn't like that either. All right, I guess flooring it is the best we're going to do. No boost for you, baby. Let's go. It's fast, guys. Come on, baby. Oh, okay, that felt good. That felt good, but not great. Let's find out what it did. 0 to 100 in 7.51 seconds. That's really good. Honestly, feels fast, especially for a big fat SUV. Let's drive it normally. Alrighty guys, driving the Mazda CX-80, the spiritual successor to the CX-9. Put our foot down. Oh man, I will say the best thing about the CX-80 is just its engine. You put your foot down, it makes a beautiful noise and it pulls really, really hard. So what is it? Well, it's actually quite unusual. It's a very new engine from Mazda. It's a 3.3 litre, 6-cylinder, turbocharged petrol engine. It is an inline 6 and it comes with some really healthy figures. It pumps out 209 kilowatt of power, 450 newton meters of torque, and it is an absolute perler. It sounds amazing and it was designed for sound. It's actually very efficient. Get about 8.3 litres per 100 kilometres thanks to its mild hybrid system. It's got a 0.33 kilowatt hour battery behind the back left seat. Awesome. And yeah, it's a really good engine. Honestly, the best part about the Mazda CX-80 is its engine, because the rest of the ride is, it's just okay, to be honest. The transmission, it's particularly bad from a slower speed. Go here, put your foot down, takes a second, shifts are a little slushy. It's just not the best. It was developed in-house by Mazda, their 8-speed torque converter, but it kind of has a dual clutch lurchiness at slow speed, and then at higher speed, it just takes a second to respond. You downshift, and it just takes a second. There you go, downshift, there you go. It's just slow. For a lot of people, you're not gonna care, but you do notice it when you are in more of that stop-start traffic. It's just quite lurchy. The other thing is the suspension. Now, they've made a lot of revisions for the new CX-80. These are changes that are going to be coming to the CX-60, CX-70, CX-90. It's all very confusing. But this will now be the third iteration of suspension tune, because when it first came out, a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people complained that it wasn't great. And as time has gone on, I can understand why people think that. But like I said, they've made changes. So they've deleted the rear stabilizer bar. It makes it essentially less taut in the back, less of a sports car. They've changed the dampers at the rear, the spring rate at the rear, and they've also changed the dampers at the front. So it's still the case that the handling is kind of heavy and a bit slow. And unfortunately, it is also the case that the suspension is still not that great. It's not terrible, it's just not that great. It's not what you would expect of a premium car. And that is why I'm so happy that it's no longer priced at a really high price. And that's why I really recommend this base model, because I think it comes actually well equipped. I think for Mazda to go out there and say it can really compete with the luxury brands like Audi, BMW, Mercedes, yeah, it's not that good. And to be honest, you would find a better ride quality in a Volkswagen Tiguan. But this engine, it's an absolute perler. I love it. It's a lot of fun. Apart from the 6-cylinder engine, the other thing that this gets at a much cheaper price, frankly, than a BMW, Audi, or Mercedes, is the fact it gets a rear-wheel drive biased all-wheel drive system. So it will still send a majority of power to the rear, and then it will send some power to the front when it detects slip. And it is a very good system, honestly. It's bit of body roll here, but it's good at keeping grip, that's for sure. I do like that quite a lot. And the overall package still definitely feels premium, but I think they might need a 4th attempt on this suspension, to be totally honest with you. Oh, and the other thing I don't love is the fact that unless you go for like the top spec or you add it as a vision package, the adaptive cruise control works great, but there is like no lane centering until you spend a bit more money, which does kind of suck. Should just be included. But anyway, it sounds like I'm complaining. There are some really good parts to this and some parts that I just think they could definitely improve. And with that, let's get into our final thoughts. Alrighty guys, final thoughts on the Mazda CX-80. Should you buy one? Well, like I said, yes,
if you go for one of the base models, I don't think spending a lot of money, you are getting that premium feel. Some things are premium. The engine for sure, that is really epic. I love the engine. However, the rest of the drivetrain, apart from the all-wheel drive system, just isn't that great. It's just not refined, it's not good. At least when you compare it to its competition. I think the Hyundai Santa Fe does a better job of feeling premium, at least to drive, and is more efficient, which is what a lot of people care about these days. Life is expensive. And then if you compare it to who Mazda are going for, they want those people that want that 6-cylinder but don't want to spend huge amounts of money. You compare it to an Audi Q5, a BMW X3. Well, yes, you are getting 7 seats, but the whole drive experience just isn't there to make up for it. However, I can absolutely recommend you going out and buying the Pure, maybe even a step above the Pure if you really want those leather seats. But anything more than that, I just don't think it's worth it. Honestly, that's just my opinion. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. Would you buy one of these, the Mazda CX-80? Do you think it's a good spiritual successor to the CX-9 in particular? And of course, if you want to buy one of these or any new car and you want the absolute best deals possible, just Google us CarSauce by my dedicated team for free. We'll help you get the best price possible with cars that are actually in stock. Ciao for now.